Okay, so it's officially the end of my fourth week on remote year. I survived month one, and it's so crazy because that means that now I am in my second country already. It's our second full day in Santiago, Chile. No more Lima. May never go back there. It's crazy how quickly it actually started feeling like a home. But yeah, now we're on to week five, I guess, in country number two. And I just want to share my thoughts on basically the three things that have just been floating around my head since we left Lima and did our first travel day to a new city. So first is I actually can already see myself starting to build appreciation for things that I never would have thought about before. So one example is in Lima, the water is not safe, or I guess it's not recommended for us to drink. I think because of the bacteria and we're not used to it and things like that. And also, I think a lot of locals don't even drink it either. And so, just when brushing your teeth, something really little is you don't want to take the water into your mouth to spit it out. You either don't want to do that at all or use bottled water. And something as small as that, first of all, I guess the thing that comes to mind is like how quickly you get used to it. In the beginning, everyone is kind of complaining and you're like, oh, how inconvenient. But then just after doing it for a little bit, I think humans can just adapt much more easily than they think. They can get used to things much faster than you think. And now, when I brushed my teeth for the first time here, I was like, oh, this is so much easier. I can actually just do it like this. And it makes you realize how many things you take for granted. Obviously, brushing your teeth, the water example, super small thing. But like another one is in the majority of the countries we're visiting, you cannot flush toilet paper. So you use toilet paper, but then you throw it in the trash. And once again, another thing to get used to when I go back to the US. I'm sure I'll just get right back to what I've been doing my whole life, but you've had that little thought in your mind of like, oh, how convenient of a life do we live? And you just have that little more bit of appreciation and gratitude for something that you took for granted your entire life. So it's pretty cool that only 4 weeks in, I'm already seeing little ways that I think I'll be more grateful for what I have in my life. And it also makes me think, once the remote year journey is done, how I can continue to incorporate experiences that make you think and make you like continue to be grateful for a lot of the privileges that I personally and probably a lot of people watching this have. Second thing that I've been thinking about since I moved to Santiago is one thing that I'm learning a lot, I think, and going to continue learning is actually what I like about cities and like the types of things I like where I live. I honestly didn't expect this to be an outcome from a remote year because since I've um, graduated college, I've lived in, I think, 6 different US cities. So I thought I pretty much understood what I like, what I don't like, but I'm already learning new things. Like, for example, Santiago so far seems like an awesome city, but from Lima, I really, really miss the ocean. And I also really liked the vibe of Lima that was like a little less, it was super busy, a lot of things you can do, just as big of a city, if not bigger than Santiago population wise, but it didn't have like a fully city vibe. Like there weren't as many tall buildings. The buildings maybe were a little older. They were more colorful. It was just like a little more flavor. And I really liked that. And Santiago, it's still early, but maybe doesn't have some of the things in Lima that just like made me kind of feel excited. So I guess one thing I'm grateful for coming into a remote year that I hadn't thought of before is it will get me 12 new perspectives of what it's like to live in a city. And I think it'll help me choose what city I move to. Probably in the US, don't worry, mom and dad, but it'll help me have better parameters for what city I pick to move to next. And the third thing that's on my mind is actually something that I want to work on. One thing that came up during transition day is a lot of people being worried about where they're living. Um, Sorry, I just had to check to make sure I was recording because the first time I did this, I recorded something for like 10 minutes and I didn't record it all. Um, anyway, yeah, so one thing transition weekend brought up was just a lot of comparison. So people, are, and it even happened with me. I'm thinking about, oh, my room isn't as nice as other people, or this kitchen isn't as nice as my kitchen in Lima, or things that I wouldn't have even really been concerned with until you see what other people are living like. Also, like people, it's natural when you're changing, going through a lot of change, little things bother you more than they would normally. So, and also we're still getting to know each other. So we don't necessarily have a ton of shared context to talk about. So sometimes it can be really easy to get into like groups of people and the conversation turns to like small complaints. And I wouldn't say anyone here is overly negative, but it is easy to be like, oh my God, did you see, this situation? Or just like complaining about little things in the day. And what I realized was like, this really irritates me. I was in kind of a bad mood yesterday when I first woke up because I was just getting irritated that I felt like everyone, which is obviously I'm being dramatic because not everyone was, but I was just feeling like people were ragging on more things that they really needed to. And we didn't come on this trip to have like perfect amenities and anything like that. But what I realized from that was actually I started doing exactly what I don't like people do. I started being negative. I was being negative about the negativity. So I was like complaining about people complaining. And then also that's like lame and no one's gonna, like, I don't want to be that person because also I understand where people are coming from. So one thing that I'm working on, I want to be like more aware of is continuing my strength, I think, of seeing the positive in situations and in not complaining about the little things, but uh, working on leading by example, showing that positivity by example, always being positive rather than showing it by talking about it and talking about how you shouldn't be negative, because then you just feel like you're on your high horse. I am not perfect. I have a lot of fucking problems that probably bother other people. But this one, I think I can do a better job of showing and walking the walk rather than talking about it, because I really don't want to be that person. And I think there are also some awesome examples of people like that in this group who I really admire. And I think it's a good thing to work on and just like be mindful of for me. So that's the end of week 4. I'm still doing it for those of you who have a bet of how long I'm going to last. I at least made it to week 5, and I'll see you in another week.